What's up, baseball fans? Frank from Frank's Card Corner here. Today we're going to take a look at my New York Mets album. This is a bunch of stars and miscellaneous players over the years going back to the 70s and I think late 60s that I have cards of. Most of my Hall of Famers and Mets stars are in my top loaders, which you could see in my Stars and Rookies video, but there's a lot of good guys in here that have some memories tied to them. Let's take a look. We're going to start off by taking a look at some Darryl Strawberry cards from the mid-1980s. You don't have to live in New York to know what a President's Darryl Strawberry was. Darryl had many good years with the Mets before being traded to the Dodgers. And here we move on to Dr. K, Dwight Gooden. Here's some mid to late 80s and early 90s cards of him. Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden could have had Hall of Fame careers easily if they, but unfortunately their things outside of baseball kind of caught up to them and kind of limited their careers. You can pause the video at any given moment. I'm just going to kind of move through a little bit. You can stop the video, watch and look at any cards anytime you want. We're going to go back here to the early to mid 1970s. You see John Matlock right there, 1977 tops, 1973 tops. He has the gold All-Star Rookie logo on his card. Ed Kranepool, Ron Hodges, Craig Swan. Moving on to the early 1980s, which was kind of a dark days of the New York Mets. Really not much going on with the team. They were a last place or next to last place team. Really not much on the team at this time. As you see, another Eddie Kranepool there. Steve Henderson, who I believe came over in the Tom Seaver trade back in the 70s, along with Pat Zachary. There's Mike Scott. Mike Scott actually went on to be a premier pitcher a couple years later with the Astros, pitching against the Mets in the National League playoffs in '86. Had a 300 strikeout year that year. John Pacella, Frank Tavares, Jeff Reardon, I believe that's his rookie card. Reardon went on to have a nice career as a good relief pitcher. Here's some 1991 Fleer Mets. Claudell Washington, Wally Backman, I believe that's Wally Backman's rookie card. Lee Mazzilli, Mike Jorgensen, Craig Swan, Elliot Maddox, Doug Flynn. There's Lee Mazzilli's 1981 Kellogg's card. Moving on to 1982 Fleer, Dave Kingman, Mike Scott, Doug Flynn, Hubie Brooks, John Stearns. On to 1982 Topps. There's some Joel Youngblood, another Lee Mazzilli card. There's Ron Gardenhire and Terry Leach's rookie. Tim Leary also went on to have a pretty decent career, was a good pitcher for the Dodgers in the late 80s. Another Mike Scott card. Ron Hodges, Randy Jones. On to 1983, we have Ed Lynch, another Dave Kingman. Dave Kingman used to hit some monster home runs for the Mets and all the other teams he played for. I believe he led the league in home runs in 1979 with 48 for the Chicago Cubs, or was it 1980? Here's some 1983 Fleer Mets. Wally Backman, Dave Kingman again, Pat Zachary. There's a 1983 Topps glossy send-in card of Mookie Wilson. As we move on to 1984 Topps, there's Jesse Orosco, All-Star reliever. There's Jesse's regular card, Doug Sisk and Craig Swan. Hubie Brooks was a fun player to watch for a while. As we move on to 1985, the year before the Mets had won the World Series. There's Ron Darling's first card with the with Donruss in '85. Sid Fernandez, Calvin Schiraldi's rookie card. He would go on to pitch for the Red Sox. Jesse Orosco, Howard Johnson. Howard Johnson would become a premier power hitter for the Mets and eventually their full-time third baseman in the late 80s into the early 90s. Mookie Wilson, Bobby Ojeda, Ray Knight, who was the '86 World Series MVP that year. Moving on to 1987, Wally Backman, Roger McDowell. McDowell did some pretty funny things in the dugout. You should check out some of his stuff on YouTube if you could find it. He did some he was like the dugout clown. He had some really funny things he used to do. Keep everybody laughing. 1987 Donruss, here we are. Again, Roger McDowell, Jesse Orosco, some Ray Knight. Kevin Elster's rookie card right there. He'd be their shortstop for a couple of years after Rafael Santana left. Dave Magadan's rookie card. Magadan would have a couple of good years playing first base and having pretty good average hitter. Davey Johnson managing the team. Some 1987 tops. Mets, here's Sid Fernandez, Ed Hearn, Jesse Orosco, Howard Johnson, Lee Mazzilli, Lenny Dykstra. That's his second year card. I have his rookie card in my Stars and Rookies video. Dave Magadan's rookie card. On to 1988. There's Tim Tuffle. Two Greg Jeffries rookies. I have the regular Donruss and the Leaf series. This was a very, very hot card back in the day. I think these cards were booking at about $10, $20 a piece at the time before he even set foot on the field. He was a very highly touted prospect. Came up, had a few good years with the Mets, but never panned out to what they expected him to pan out. And then I believe he finished off his career with the Phillies and the Royals. Some 1988, more 1988s. Here's the 1988 score. Greg Jeffries rookie card. Ron Darling, Wally Backman, Tim Tuffle. Randy Myers, good fiery reliever for a couple of years. Went on to the Cincinnati Reds to be part of the Nasty Boys bullpen along with Norm Charlton and Rob Dibble for 1990 when the Reds won the World Series. Some more 1988 cards here. There's Kevin Elster's Future Star card of tops. Ron Darling, Lenny Dykstra, Wally Backman, Rick Aguilera. On to 1989. There's another Greg Jeffries card. It's actually his second year card. They still put a rated rookie logo on there. 1989 Donruss. Timmy Tuffle, Roger McDowell, Ron Darling, Kevin Elster. Some 1989 Fleer. I actually bought these cards up in Cooperstown. I just went into a gift shop and bought a pack of 89, a couple of packs of 89 Fleer, and happened to pull all these guys out of there. There's Ron Darling, David Cone, Greg Jeffries. David Cone is one guy I wish the Mets never traded. He was really, really good. Davey Johnson, Howard Johnson, Kevin Elster, 1989 tops. Some more 1989 tops. Here's the Mets team leader cards with Keith Hernandez and Darryl Strawberry on there, greeting Kevin McReynolds. Some 1989 tops glossy inserts. These cards came in rack packs back in the 80s. There's Howard Johnson and Mackie Sasser's rookie card. Some more 1989 Greg Jeffries Future Star cards. On to 1990 and 1991. We see Dave Magadan, Bobby Ojeda, Ron Darling. Some 1990 tops. A couple of David Cones. Dave Magadan, Timmy Tuffle, and Kevin Elster. 1991 Fleer. Howard Johnson, Sid Fernandez, David Cone. These had to be, I think, one of the ugliest cards ever designed. I hated the 1991 Fleer series. Just that bright yellow and just bland design. I just never liked it. 1990 Donruss is Howard Johnson's Diamond King, his All-Star card, his regular cards, some Kevin McReynolds and Mackie Sasser. 1987 Fleer Dave Magadan rookie card with Phil Lombardi on the Yankees. There's some 1991 Upper Deck. A couple more Dwight Gooden cards here from the early 1990s. Moving on to the 1991. This is 1991 Studio here of John Franco. That was a premier edition of that set. I always liked those studio cards. They were really nice. 1991 Donruss and 1990 Donruss here. We have Sid Fernandez, David Cone, Dave Magadan, Diamond King. Some more 1990 and 1991 cards. Ron Darling, Greg Jeffries, John Franco came onto the team at this time. There's another John Franco card there. Sid Fernandez. Howard Johnson was their big hitter at this time. There's the manager, Buddy Harrelson. Buddy, of course, a member of the early 1970s and 60s, 69 Mets. David Cone, Dave Magadan, Frank Viola came onto the team at this time. Some 1992 Mets, 1992 tops, Mackie Sasser, David Cone. Greg Jeffries, Dave Magadan. There's a 1993 Upper Deck combination card of Howard Johnson, Eddie Murray, and I believe Bobby Bonilla on the card. Bobby Bonilla, as most Met fans know, is not one of the favorite players in our history for obvious reasons. Just a bad, kind of a troubled era for the Mets in the early 1990s. There's Jeremy Benitz's rookie card. He would go on to have some great years with Milwaukee, and we got him back in the early parts of 2000s, and didn't quite do too much for us after we got him back. Here's some mid 2000s cards here. There's a Shane Spencer card he was previously with the Yankees. Willie Randolph managing the team in 2006 when they went to the National League Championship and unfortunately lost to the St. Louis Cardinals. Joe Smith rookie card. Bobby Jones rookie card. Bobby Jones had some good years. Back to 1993, there's Todd Hundley, John Franco, Brett Saberhagen. I was really excited when we got Brett Saberhagen for a little while. He was a superstar pitcher with the Royals since the mid 1980s. There's a bunch of other cards from the mid 1990s. There's Kirk Presley's rookie card there. I believe he is a relative of Elvis Presley. Some more 1994 and late 1980s cards here. We have Ray Ordonez, really good shortstop. This guy just was a below average hitter, but man, he had some flair in the field. Edgardo Alfonso, probably my favorite Met at that time in the late 1980s, early 2000s. Just a good, solid second baseman, a great hitter. Loved the guy. Clutch in the playoffs, too. John Olerud, Robin Ventura. These were the 2000 Mets that went to the World Series and unfortunately lost to the Yankees. There's Benny Agbayani, another fan favorite. He was another guy who had a bunch of home run bunches that he had, like 10 home runs and like 60-something at-bats. He was on one of those tears for a while, became a fan favorite. Tim O'Neill Perez, this guy was another popular player around 2000, 2001. Jay Payton. Bobby Valentine, the manager of the Mets in the 2000s, took the team to the World Series in 2000, and like I said, unfortunately lost. There is a 2004 Fleer Platinum Jose Reyes, Al Leiter Topps Chrome. And some more cards here from the early 2000s, I believe. Yeah, that's Craig Brazell. He was another prospect with the Mets. Benny Agbayani, Top Stars. This was the premier edition of Top Stars. Marco Scudero, good player for a while. And Tsuyoshi Shinjo, a Japanese player, came over with us for a while. He was pretty good. He had some nice years. Some more 2000 cards here. Ray Ordonez, Mike Hampton, Rick Reed. Rick Reed was a great pitcher. Loved watching him pitch. And that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to check out my Stars and Rookies video for all the really good Met cards that I have. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Check out my other videos.